Why, hello there. How's it going, everyone? It's a MLB algorithm update. We're going to review a Sunday a little bit, and then we're going to talk about Monday's games. Took a look at Sunday here. One thing I did change, which I talked about in the live stream video yesterday, was changing Miami's pitcher to 2021 pitching stats, which would put Houston up at the top here. So that was something to pay attention to, different from what I sent out in the morning because I didn't change that, but it was relevant. It was talked about in the live stream with Katrina and everything. So if you do that, it actually is a pretty good day for the teams that were up top. Atlanta, Cleveland, Tampa Bay, which was talked about. Dodgers do not do it, man. Dodgers again, a lot of guys on no scoring. Just man, Dodgers having trouble. So Mets, the underdog wins. So in that sense, we beat the odds makers today by picking off an underdog and having it win. Other than that, it got to be a choppy day. There were not runs in the Boston game like I thought, but there were runs in the Kansas City Baltimore game for sure. White Sox blew one late in many extra innings. Cincinnati actually won this. I talked about Cincinnati plus 1.5. They actually won this game. Anyway, so that was yesterday. Not a great day, but there were some things up top, and I guess you could have made money. I did not. I lost my wagers yesterday because I missed a whole bunch of stuff. But let's talk about today. Let's talk about today. So I brought in some simulations for today already. Brought in the odds, and I got the expected lineups. They're not confirmed yet. But so what's really funny here is, oh my goodness, that is just like a streaming color of the odds makers and the algorithm are doing very, very similar things to see numbers like this. So it really loves Toronto and Manoa over Baltimore. Then St. Louis and San Diego, a little higher up than the odds makers have them. Odds makers have them a little further down. If you switched around what the odds makers show, you'd see something like this by line. It's very, very similar, right? See, San Diego drops down to here. Anyway, so we go back to the margin look, and so not a lot of interesting things really consistent with the odds makers. And then we do have three underdogs though down here. So we've got Minnesota, Kansas City, and Kansas City over San Francisco. Wow. All right, so let's take a look at what is breaking that down, and if we need to adjust any pitcher year stats. Like I can see we might want to adjust something here and maybe even here. We'll see. So let's talk about the first game. There's Atlanta and Washington. Thinks Atlanta wins this game 5-3, 5-4-ish. On the road, they could barely cover 1.5, barely, I think, right? But to win, not that bad at -160. So if you're going to craft a round robin tonight before you get confirmed information, this probably isn't going to change. Atlanta beating Washington makes sense given how Washington's been playing and Atlanta playing excellent, right? So Atlanta to win is a pick. Then Miami and Philadelphia here, no margin on this game because really good pitching out of Miami with Alcantara, Sandy Alcantara. He is the mejor of the staff. I think he's the ace or whatever. So 3.6 to 3 or 4-2, they can beat Philly that just got their winning streak snapped. Aaron Nola pitching pretty well though, but only 4-4. So Alcantara supposedly pushes Miami over the top here. They're an underdog, so plus 1.5, very interesting pick there as well, given it's supposed to be a low scoring game. So Miami plus 1.5 could go on a round robin right now, see what that line is. And if you're going to pick a winner, it says by projected score and barely by margin, as it does have them as the 10th pick. See what lineups are in that game. Baltimore and Toronto, crushing it. Toronto's supposed to own them against Kyle Bradish. Well, tough to bet the line here. So I would try team runs for Toronto, which probably set at like 5. Says they get there even though they're at home because Bradish's ERA is really bad and Toronto's at home. So I think the only thing is team runs, but unfortunately the line has become kind of unbettable because you can't take a -1.5 because they're at home. I don't take anybody at home -1.5. White Sox in Detroit. Here it likes the White Sox -146, 7% margin. Oh, yeah, sorry. Lance Lynn making his first start of the year. So we have nothing for 2022 stats. Doesn't work. So we got to go with last year's stats, which were excellent. So I don't know what he's coming back from, but I'm going to stay away from that game because first start, I don't know what's happening here. But if you do anything, you're supposed to take the White Sox to win. But you're not. I don't know why he hasn't started this year. I don't know what's going on. Just recovering from injury or what. Pittsburgh and St. Louis. Actually, we probably need to look that up, but I won't worry about it. Pittsburgh and St. Louis. It really likes St. Louis, but Zach Thompson only has 4 innings here. He doesn't have anything for last year. Well, I mean, bad ERA for Mitch Keller. I mean, it's only 4 innings, but St. Louis probably pulls it out anyway. So St. Louis to win is going to be on here because it's the second pick of the day, but I'd like to know more about this pitching before I make a decision tomorrow. San Diego and the Cubs. San Diego 5-2. Justin Steele not pitching great. Yu Darvish pitching good. Yu Darvish pitching well for San Diego. So only -130. Third pick of the day, only -130. That's a big pick for the algorithm right there then. Houston and Texas. Houston 5-2. Bad stats for Taylor Hearn. Kristen Javier pitching well. Houston only -160. So Houston to win. Also pick. Cincinnati and Arizona. Terrible Mike Minor rating for this year. What about last year? All right, a little more reasonable. Okay, so now this game becomes 6-3. Notice a lot of runs in this game. Minor and Kelly in Arizona. So thinks they're going to get over 9 runs in this scenario. And if you use Mike Minor's 2022 pitching stats, they get even more. It's 11-run game. So an over in that game, it looks like. And then do you take Arizona to win? Probably, because Mike Minor has been explosively bad this year, and he was bad last year anyway. I think he was with Kansas City. I'm not sure about that though. So Arizona playable with a much better pitcher in Merrill Kelly. So even though I say the over there, it looks like Arizona is a stronger pick because of what's going on here. In all factors, it looks like Arizona probably takes this game. So only -155 is not that bad. You can see they're the 7th pick this way. So, all right. So Arizona's on there. Whoops. Now we've got Kansas City and San Francisco. Explain to me how you have Kansas City upsetting San Francisco algorithm. How does that happen? How does that happen? Seriously, how does that happen here? Alex Woods got an ERA of 4, 3, and 5. Brady Singer wins more games at 3-1. And this game is a tie score-wise and only a 2% margin. So this is Kansas City plus 1.5 somehow is going to be a reasonable line. And if it says they're the 9th picker, I guess that is good. That goes on there. I don't want to argue with the algorithm. The algorithm says do it. So that's Kansas City plus 1.5. You're not taking them to win because you can see how close this is, but plus 1.5 apparently, because Brady Singer will probably do his best there. So Kansas City plus 1.5. Now last game, Minnesota, Seattle. Likes Minnesota 4-4, 4-3. You look at that, 4-4 rounded. They're an underdog line. Chris Archer's 1-2. Chris Flexen's 2-7 though. So a battle of bad pitchers. I could see an over in that game as well, because you got some lineup factors and some losing pitchers at least whose ERAs are not astronomical, but not great. So these guys are finding ways to lose games somehow. And Minnesota's got an underdog line. It's the 8th pick of the day somehow. Really? At 2% margin, it's the 8th pick of the day. How low are these margins? Wow. Wow, those are low margins. And they're all away. I can see why they're all underdogs. Amazing. Wow, that is really aligned with the odds makers, I'll tell you that. It's pretty crazy. So, in summary, I should make a bet tonight and then not even worry about it. What would you do? It said, looking here, it said Toronto team runs, because you can't bet them supposedly, but you can also try to bet them. You can try to bet them -1.5. I don't recommend it. But they're supposed to win. Then St. Louis, there was a weird pitching situation here, so I'm kind of scared of that actually. San Diego, because Yu Darvish is pitching well. I know Atlanta. I know Arizona. Kansas City plus 1.5. And Miami plus 1.5. These two plus 1.5. What did I say about Minnesota? I can't remember. And what did I say about Houston, Texas? Houston, Texas had Houston only -1. I said Houston, yeah. I said take Houston, that too. So, I mean, could be a very interesting day, actually. I mean, there's a lot of this that could win. Those are the four you're supposed to take on the parlay above 10% margin if you're just listening to the algorithm and not listening to me like you should do. Never listen to me, always listen to the algorithm. But here on a day with 10 games, could we go 10-0? I mean, anybody can, but I don't know. It's an interesting look today. All right. So good luck, everybody. My picks win. If you want to get on the email list, receive a copy of this. It's $20 for a week. You can go to kenbergerman.com. I'll be sending out a confirmed lineup email tomorrow, sometime probably an hour or so before the game start when they get those lineups up to see how this changes. But whatever. Good luck. And also, you never know. Sometimes they'll make pitching changes, and they might do that. All right. Good luck, everybody. Mail your picks. Be winning.